Scholars. Today I want to teach you about another reading habit. This habit is called Juggle all three balls. And you see we have this student in the middle and it looks like he's thinking about some things. And as you're reading, there's 3 good questions you should always ask yourself. The first question is, does it look right? So when you're looking at the words, match up the letters to what you're saying and check to see if the word and the letters match. Does it look right? The second thing good readers always ask themselves is, does it sound right? So if you read a word and it sounds like a word you never heard before, maybe it's not a real word. So then you need to go back and give it a second try. So readers ask themselves, does it look right? And the last thing that readers ask themselves is, does it make sense? If you're reading a sentence and it doesn't make any sense, then somewhere along the line we made a mistake. So you need to go back and reread. So there are 3 questions good readers ask themselves. Does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense? Can you think, what are the 3 questions good readers ask themselves? If you want to see a demonstration or a quick lesson about does it look right, does it sound right, and does it make sense, I'm going to be reading you the story, The Very Last Castle. As I read, I want you to think about, does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense? The Very Last Castle. In the middle of a small town stood something you might not expect. A castle. It was, in fact, the very last castle. There had been others, but over time they had been taken down or fallen apart or even been destroyed. All but one. For reasons no one can remember, no one ever came out. And no one was allowed in. Up in the tower, the gird watched. The gird? I've never heard the word gird before. I wonder if I look at the picture, if I can maybe figure out what this word is. Because the word gird does not make sense. Oh, it must be a guard. Up in the tower, the guard watched the townspeople silently pass by. Then there was Ib. Every day she walked past the castle all alone. Every day she stopped. She liked up. Does that look right? No, the word like has an I sound in it, and this has O's in it. I'm gonna look at those letters again. She looked up, saw the lone guard standing stone still. Plunk. Since no one had been inside the castle, the townspeople had ideas about who or what was in there. Snap, snap, snap. Mothers, said Miss Wicks. Mothers. Here's my picture. That doesn't look like what a mother would look like. Does it look right? Mother would have a TH in it. It might sound right, but it doesn't really make sense. Let me look at those letters again. Monsters. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Those are some big people in that castle. Thud, thud, thud. Giants. That doesn't make sense. It's not a giant. It must be a giant, said Alex. What could it be? They're hissing, and if I look at the letters, it starts with a sn sound. Snakes, said Ib's grandfather. Maybe it's something terrible, thought Ib one day. But maybe it's something else. Plunk. The next morning, Ib walked past the castle. She stopped and looked up at the tower. No guard. Ib had an idea. She floated across the moat and walked up to the door, and with the strength she had, knock. Ooh, those are all the letters. The letters look right. Does it sound right? Knock? No, that doesn't sound right. What would make sense? What is she doing? Oh, knock, knock, knocked. Ib didn't stop running until she was sitting at her desk at school, scared and out of breath. My grandpa was right. She didn't tell anyone what had happened. Not long after, an envelope arrived. Inside was an invitation. Your presence is requested at the front gate of the castle on Sunday at noon. Everyone told Ib to stay away. I'm gonna look at the letters. Does it look right, sound right, and make sense? Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Giants, said Alex. Snakes, said her grandfather. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought. Could it be something else? On Sunday, Ib stood all alone outside the front gate. With a loud thunk, the drawbridge began to lower. She trembled. She looked up at the tower. Empty. She took a deep breath. Slowly, Ib did something none of the townspeople had ever done. She walked inside. It turned out Miss Wicks and Alex had been right. There were monsters. And there were giants, but no snakes. Welcome, came a voice. A kind voice. It was the guard. He removed his There's the H sound. I'm gonna look at the letters. H, L, M, et. Helmet. Does that look right? Yeah. Does it sound right? Helmet. Yeah. Does it make sense? Oh, I look at the picture and he took off his helmet. He removed his helmet. He was much older than Ib had expected. I'm the last one left. May I show you around? For the rest of the day, Ib and the guard, his name was William, visited every corner of the castle. Before long, they were pruning near the great hall. Snap, snap, snap. And harvesting by the palace. Thud, thud, thud. They ended up where they had started. Why now? Asked Ib. All the other castles are gone, answered William. Someday I will be too. I want someone brave to take my place, someone curious. Will you help me? Ib thought about William, all on his own. She thought about her family and friends outside the castle. She thought, and then she knew. Yes, Ib replied, but I have one request. In the middle of a small town stood the very last castle. Sometimes someone came out, and everyone was welcome in. Yes. And that's the end of our story. So as you're reading, remember to ask yourself, does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense?